for the city here that they're not caught. But every single thing to the news. They know every team member from the board, they like and for uniforms too.
Okay.
It's 5:30. We're going to go ahead and call the City Council meeting to order. We do have a quorum here tonight for President, 2 in the chairs, and so we still have our 5 as we're trading off. Jeff, you're welcome to sit at the table until said time. It
That's
switches
okay.
up. Okay.
That's all right.
Okay. So would invite us to rise as you are able, and we'll begin with the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Not right now, but shortly there'll be somebody here. So, welcome to the City of Burton Council meetings. We've set aside time for public comments. If you wish to speak, I would ask to make that you have signed in when you do come in. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak, and your time cannot be passed or shared with anyone else. Susie Tomini.
Thank you, Mayor. So I understand that we're considering hiring EcoFlow today to review the fire suppression system at the school. And I understand the problem about the 6 and the 12-inch line. I just want to suggest that instead of spending city tax dollars to hire a third-party agency, another alternative would be diplomacy. Just reach out to the school, tell them the problem, and instead of us spending city dollars, they can resolve the problem and report back to us. We don't want the school to have their insurance rates go up or have claims on their O&E because that affects everybody. So diplomacy, I would like to see that first before other options happen. Lastly, on a different issue, as funding becomes available for infrastructure, I'm hoping that we do not try to find funding for an additional 200 water meters. I don't think anyone in this room wants to see 227 families moving here. As long as we do not get boosters, we can limit growth to 27 families after water well number 5 activates. And I think slow and steady wins the race, especially for a municipality of this size. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. Alicia?
Charlie, first I want to extend welcome to City Council. I'm excited to see how you decide to show up because Burton's at an important crossroads. Over the last several months, many members of this community have shown up to participate in discussions surrounding the subdivision ordinance and AOCA. It's important to say clearly, the pushback from the community has not come from people who are anti-growth or trying to create conflict. But we are anti-bad decisions. The concerns raised come from experienced professionals, business owners, landowners, and residents pointing out legitimate issues involving unclear and inconsistent language, concentrated power, property rights, enforcement concerns, and the long-term impact these have on Burton. That's not obstruction, and that's not noisy. That's civic participation. The leadership response to that has been troubling. Community concern has often been treated like an inconvenience, at times mocked by leadership. Questions have been minimized instead of answered. Expertise has been brushed aside instead of invited to the process. Residents leave meetings many times feeling dismissed or talked down to, and they simply must not understand the ordinance or process. After 15 years working professionally in this field, I confidently say many of us absolutely understand what's being presented through various options. What I personally see in the subdivision ordinance as it sits today are serious concerns related to favoritism, government risk, unclear standards, and glaring civil liability. Disagreement is not the issue. No council member is expected to agree with every citizen. But as leaders, you are expected to read materials before the session, ask thoughtful questions, and avoid blindly supporting decisions because pressure exists from someone at the table. The subdivision ordinance impacts landowner rights, future growth, property values, infrastructure, business opportunity, and the direction of Burton for decades to come. And while EOCA continues to be presented as the only viable solution, important facts remain true. The required 2 comparison options have not been presented, the community has raised concerns about the lack of clarity in their agreement, and EOCA Leadership Online openly states that their goal is to become the largest AI-powered community management platform in the industry. We understand the city might need more expertise at the table, and multiple residents have brought that up. Yet, those offers by residents have largely been criticized while additional third-party costs keep being pushed on taxpayers. This town is too smart and too capable to operate as though only one voice at the top can share and shape the outcomes. The community is paying attention not only to what decisions are being made, but how leadership behaves while making them. We remember tone and respect. We remember when both are missing or when your backs are literally turned to the community being served. People remember whether public service felt like a service or a third authority protecting ego. Burton deserves leadership that can handle disagreement without defensiveness and invite expertise in the room instead of resisting it. None of us own this town. We are temporary stewards to it, and stewardship requires humility, professionalism, and a willingness to listen before decisions are permanently made that affect the community. Thanks.
David?
Okay. Sure, I'll say something.
Did you have your name down?
Yeah. I didn't know if I was speaking before or after, that's why I was listening to respond. That's all right. So, Ms. Buck, so for those of you that don't know me, I represent the company that owns the old schoolhouse across the highway. So that's who I am. We've got assets scattered from Louisiana, Texas, Alaska, kind of good across the country. But my point in being here tonight was Ms. Buck and I had a conversation, if you recall, Ms. Buck, you and the property. And for us, it's about the maintenance of infrastructure. What you guys are doing, sewer system, water system, etc. What I'm hoping for tonight is that Ms. Buck actually brings to the table part of our conversation in hopefully a little bit more hospitable manner than we had at the shop. So you guys have some issues with your sewer system. By the way, what happened is your sewer system backed up and overflowed our building. So we'll discuss that, but hopefully we can hear something from you, just a brief, as you said tonight, and we'll go from there. Yep. All right, that's it. Thanks.
That's all I have. Oh, yep, Ned?
I'll give you 2 minutes and 55 seconds flat. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to remind you all that you are guests of this meeting. Thank you for being here. And council is going to begin its work because there is a very full agenda tonight. I want to begin with welcoming Amanda. Thank you for being our new city secretary. We're excited to have you with the city of Burton. You've been here 2 weeks, but on the job a week and a half actually, and it's been a very full week and a half. So thank you for jumping in and doing such a phenomenal job. And so item number 1 is to discuss and take action on a resolution to canvass the returns of the May 2nd, 2026 City of Burton City Council election. Amanda, do you want to walk us through where we are in the process?
Okay, so in the past, let's see, 8-9 days. So I came on a Tuesday. My first day was on a Thursday. We had the election on a Saturday. By 9 o'clock that night, we realized we had one clear winner and 2 positions that were at equal ties. The city of Burton was incorporated in 1972, and there has not been a single race that has ever ended in a tie in the city of Burton. So there are no ordinances, there are no laws, there are no guidelines to show us what we do from here. So I have been on the phone and emailing Texas Secretary of State, their legal team, our legal team, Carol Jackson and I have been going back and forth trying to determine what happens now. We had the Secretary of State did mandate a mandatory hand count audit last Friday, which I attended. They counted each and every vote out loud. We tallied them. They had 3 people that were writing down tallies. They made sure and everything came out exactly as was reported on actual election day. So what happened there was the Secretary of State said that we have the opportunity to either cast lots, which means you can flip a coin, you can draw straws, you can draw cards, you can do any number of things that is an immediate, one person wins, one person loses. We don't have to go through a runoff. But it has to be 100% that each candidate agrees to do casting of lots or heading to runoff. Unanimously, all 4 candidates decided they did not want to cast lots, they want to go to runoff. So right now we have to canvass the numbers that we do know, and then we will call for an automatic recount, and then we'll go to runoff, which will happen June the 13th. We will have some early voting. I do not know those dates as of yet. Bear with me, we are trying to work through this together because this is all very, very new. I was on the phone with Secretary of State right before the meeting trying to determine if we had to pay for a recount, because the recount is going to cost us money. The runoff is going to cost us money. And because we did the hand count and our voting is so small because we are a small community, every single vote was already counted. Legally, we are not able to use that audit because that is for the Secretary of State's purposes only. So we will have to pay for the recount for everything to be recounted once again. So that's where we're at right now. But we are working with every person that we can find that can get us in the right direction, just so we do this by the book and by the law.
Thank you. Thank you for your diligence on that.
Yes.
So council, what you have in your packet, let's see. We have a resolution in there, but there's a mistake on that, so we're going to use the resolution that was in your box or separate from your packet. So that's going to be the packet. We're going to return to that shortly. You have also in the packet every day the posted information that was online of who early voted on what day and then who voted on the day of election. So you know everybody who did vote. And behind that are the results there on that the summary on that last page, the unofficial results. So you have all those numbers there in front of you. Any questions about what you're finding in your packet? Okay. So then we're going to move to the resolution, and it's resolution 2026-0512. Again, it's dated for tonight, so the 5th of May 12th, 2026. And this is a resolution canvassing the returns and declaring the results of the May 2nd, 2026 general election of the city of Burton, Texas. Whereas pursuant to the Texas Election Code, the City Council of the City of Burton, Texas convened on this 12th day of May 2026 at 5:30 p.m. for the purpose of canvassing the vote in the general election held on May 2nd, 2026. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Burton, Texas that Section 1, the canvass of vote. There came to be considered the returns of the general election held on the 2nd day of May 2026 for the purpose of electing council members for position 2, 3, and 5, and in appearing from said returns duly and legally made that each of the candidates in said election received the following votes. Council position 2, Tommy Gilman, votes cast 66, Sheila Ripple, votes cast 66. Council position 3, Jeff Eckhart, 55, Charly Ruemke, 73. Council position 5, Bernique Peanut Gant, 65, Macy Grimm Tidwell, 65. Section 2, the findings and declarations. It is found, determined, and declared by the City Council that said election was duly called, that notice of said election was given in accordance with law, and that said election was held in accordance with law. Declaring Charly Ruemke elected to City Council position 3, finding that the election results for city council positions 2 and 4 resulted in tie votes. Oh, sorry, 5.
Five.
On the bottom,
Yeah.
correction there. Positions
I'm
2
on
and
4.
5, okay. Yeah, you're on 5. Okay. Ordering an automatic recount pursuant to section 216.003 of the Texas Election Code and authorizing the issuance of a certificate of election and administration of the oath of office. Section 3, open meetings. It is further found and determined that in accordance with this resolution of this governing body, that the city secretary post a written notice of the date, place, and subject to this meeting on the bulletin board of City Hall, a place convenient to the public, and said notice having been so posted continuously for at least 72 hours preceding the date of this meeting. A copy of the return of said posting shall be attached to the minutes of the meeting and shall be made part thereof for all intents and purposes. Passed and approved this 12th day of May, 2026. And so we'll need to entertain a motion to take action on this resolution.
I'll make a motion to discuss and take action on a resolution to canvass the returns of the May 2nd, 2026 City of Burton City Council election.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And so there is a presentation and issue certificate of election for Charly Ruemke. I'll leave that to you, Amanda.
Okay, so first we'll do certificate of election. So I, undersigned authority, hereby certify that Charly Ruemke was duly elected to the office of City Council, Position 3, for the City of Burton, Texas, at the general election held on May 2nd, 2026. If you will repeat after me. I, Charly Ruemke,
I, Charly Ruemke,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
execute the duties
execute the duties
of the office of City Council, Position 3,
of the office of City Council, Position 3
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and will do the best
and will do the best
of my ability
of my ability
to preserve,
to preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend the Constitution
and defend the Constitution
and laws
and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Charlie, y'all kind of lift this.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Charlie. Welcome.
Welcome.
Yes, please.
And Jeff, thank you for your time at this table. Thank you for serving in the number of years that you have. And I appreciate all that you brought to the table. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Wait till she finishes signing. We're good. So we've done 2 and 3 right there. And we're going to move to item 4, discuss and take action to order an automatic recount as required by the Texas Election Code due to a tie vote for the offices of City Council Position 2 and Position 5. So Amanda kind of explained all that to us. Is there anything else that we need to add?
That's all we know for right now.
That's all we know for right now. So we need a motion to take action to order that automatic recount.
I'll take motion to order the automatic recount of Texas election due and to the vote for officials, city position 2 and 5.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item 5 is to discuss and take action to order a runoff election as required by the Texas Election Code due to a tie vote for the offices of City Council Position 2 and Position 5. And so that runoff election is Saturday, June 13th. That is not a day we picked out of the air. That is a day assigned by the state of Texas. And they also assign all the other dates going backwards to us as well. Publications, early voting dates and whatnot, but we'll have to work on that with Carol Jackson. I think our ILA continues with them in that same manner, so we'll be working on that. And so I would entertain a motion to take action to order a runoff election.
I'll Make a motion to take action to order a runoff election as required by the Texas Election Code due to a tie vote for the offices of City Council positions 2 and position 5.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Next we have two presentations, one from Burton ISD. So the last time the ISD met with City Council regarding the 2021 construction was September 20th, 2022 in a workshop session. And so thank you all for being here. There's some here. There's
right here.
again, there's Ms. Curry there, yes. And then you, and you've got some other on your team.
Yes,
and
I
some
have
from the
Shane
school
and I have
district.
Victor, yes.
Okay, Shane and Victor are down in the, there we go, they're in the hallway, and we have a trustee with us this evening as well. Just one trustee right now. I just want to make sure I recognize them.
There's an open chair.
There is an open chair if anybody wants to have a seat. Okay. And so council at the April council meeting, we're catching you up, Charlie. At the April council meeting, the utility manager, the utility contractor, and I shared about the staff meeting we were called to on Thursday, April 2nd at the ISD offices. And since that time, the utility manager, the utility contractor, Councilmember Nathan, and I met with the superintendent, 3 other board trustees, contractors, and engineers at the ISD offices on Monday, April 27th. Topics covered included the request for that connection of a 12-inch fire suppression line to the city's 6-inch water line, as well as the wastewater issues and construction debris in that wastewater line on North Railroad. This evening we have representatives from the ISD here with us to give us some updates on their end, and we, council, have an opportunity to ask some follow-up questions regarding these updates. And did you all have anything you wanted to?
Yes, Victor, he has a thumb drive. We just need to be able to present it.
Thumb drive.
Yes, USB stick, I'm sorry.
Okay. Can they use your equipment?
If it has one.
Okay.
That's like one on the side.
That is true.
That's 2 of them right there.
I'm going to flatten that table too. Yeah. So there's the light switch right on that little door, on that little wall.
Focus.
Oh, wait.
There we
There we go.
Can they use your laptop?
go. Your HDMI, yeah, change that.
Do we turn that light back on? Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, lights, sorry.
Important out of the computer, we can just do the thumb drive on your computer.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Oh, okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Understand.
It's all touch screens. So while Victor's getting that together, my name is Antonio Naylor, Reliance Architecture. I have Shane Bourgeois, he's with Reliance Architecture, and Victor Gill, he's the professional engineer, civil engineer. And so our understanding today is that you wanted to look at the fire line, you wanted us to show what we have on our plans. We're going to do that, and then he also has some background information for us. All right, I think we can go ahead and turn the lights off.
Yeah, sure.
Give it a go. Sure.
So this represents the site as designed. There's a little red line in there. I don't know if you can see it very well, but that's the fire line that
Right
loops
there,
around.
Do we have like a little pointer on there?
There
I'll just go ahead and show you real quick.
Here.
So the line he's talking about,
There's a
yes.
laser.
Oh, you got it?
If you want one, here you go. Right there.
Sorry.
Okay. Do we sit in? No, I'm fine. Thank you, Deb. Still.
So this is the fire line. Essentially, it comes around and loops around this entire building here. Branching off of that, there's an 8-inch line, and it runs into the fire riser room, which is located right about right there. So,
And that area is where the locker rooms are. And we have a washer and dryer and all that, but it's in that area.
so this is a 12-inch line that runs around. And what we have on the end of each line, we're connecting in two different places. There's a place down here where we connect on Cedar Street. There's a
Which
place-
is at the front of the elementary. So that's where we're connecting down low, right there where the sliding gates are. We're gonna connect down there, and then this is the other
This is
location.
the other location along Main Street right here. And so to make that connection, what we do is we do a backflow preventer. So it's a double check detector assembly. So there is a, you can see it this little right there, there's a heater on there along with another little small backflow. That will detect if there's any water leakage along this entire line. Now, since these are backflow preventers, this water line essentially is always full and never moves
Yes.
unless there's a fire in the building and that sprinkler system is set off.
So what you need to know about on a backflow preventer, it prevents the water from going back into the pipe that's coming. So that's why he's saying that that line stays pressurized and the water stays in there. Only when there's demand is there more water going into that line.
So this is the view of the building. This is the gymnasium here. The fire riser room is located right about right here where the slide is. And this is like, they break these areas up into little areas of
Zones.
zones, so to speak. And so, this next sheet.
So when the fire suppression is activated, it's activated by zones. It's not activated for the whole building. So if there's a fire in the locker room, that's a zone, and there's going to be detectors there, plus there's going to be the sprinkler system. And the sprinkler system is only going to activate for the zone that the fire is in. And it's going to keep going until it can put out that fire. And so this is to keep the spread fast.
So this is the hydraulic summary for the sprinkler systems in that red zone that was shown on the last slide. So there are 14 sprinklers in that, and that runs at 226 GPM. And so the flow out of each sprinkler head is 16.19 GPM. So when there's a fire, there's a fusible link in that sprinkler head. And so when that sprinkler head goes off, not all the sprinkler heads go off. The entire building doesn't go off. It's not like you see in the movies where the hero is running out of the building and all the sprinklers are going off at the same time. It's usually just one or two heads that will go off, put out the fire, and that's pretty much it. So if any one sprinkler head goes off, it's 16.9 GPM, and that's gallons per minute. So the benefits for using larger, so I guess the question for everybody was why a 12-inch? And so the benefits of using the larger water pipe is, one, it reduces velocity in the pipe. Two, it provides us better pressure. We don't have as much pressure loss in those pipes. So we'll get it slightly increased flow rate, but that's negligible.
Yeah.
But that's that. Let's see what.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure can.
Was it always a 12-inch line, or was it a different size?
It's always been a 12-inch line because that's what the calculation showed that we needed in order to keep the pressures.
Correct.
Remember that we also have a competition gymnasium, so that's 30 feet. Those sprinkler heads are 30 feet above the finished floor elevation of the building. So in order to keep the pressures at a high level, we needed to go to a larger pipe.
Right, to keep the head pressure.
To keep the head pressure so that we can actually actuate those sprinklers at the right pressure. Just some data on this. There's 2,555 linear feet of 12-inch on site, and that is 5.22 gallons per foot. So there's 13,337 gallons in the fire line. We have 159 linear feet of 8-inch to the fire riser at 2.46 gallons per foot. So that's 391 to the building. Total gallons on site is 13,728. And total gallons in the wet pipes in the building is 19,050 gallons. So total gallons that we stored on site would be 32,778 gallons. That was information that y'all wanted to know. This is just fire hydrant history. The question was asked, are they wet hydrants? If a car hits it, is it gonna shoot out water like in the movies? We don't typically use wet barrel hydrants here. This manufacturer stopped making wet barrel hydrants in 1996. Fire hydrants you see on site will be of the top variety. It's a Super Centurion and have a cutaway view. So they're considered dry barrel hydrants. So in a dry barrel hydrant, water is stored down here. The valve is sitting here, and this is all dry. So when you open the operating nut here, this valve opens down here. Water, of course, comes out the steamer or the bumper nozzles. And then when you close this valve, what happens to this water? It comes out through a little drain ring that's located right in that area right there. And so the blue area indicates where water will always be, and this will be dry. So if somebody does knock it over, there's a safety pin here essentially that dislocates this section from this section, and you shouldn't have any water. Now if you hit it really hard, that's a different story. But and just a couple things about the water meter on site. There's an existing water meter here. There's an existing water meter up front here. And we're proposing to put another proposed water meter right there to service the middle school portion in this middle here. So this hydrant will serve the old high school building and the new high school building, as well as the ag. This meter serves the blue area that's existing, and this meter down here will serve essentially this area in here. So the blue area also indicates a sprinkler system that's the same design as the one we're proposing to install. It's been in use since 2008. I don't think there's been any issues with that as far as your water system was concerned. But that has the same exact sprinkler system, basically the same exact design. That's pretty much it. Any questions?
So we were informed earlier that it was a 6-inch line, originally a 6-inch line for the fire suppression. You're saying it's not. That's what we were told, that it was a 6 moved to a 12.
No, when we were here in September 2021, we brought these set of plans, and we had 12-inch pipe.
And it was a 12-inch pipe on that plan.
Yes.
It's always been a 12.
I listened to that meeting earlier today from 2022. I think because I wasn't
22, okay.
I was not mayor then. And listen to that. Can we turn the lights on? It's just so much easier to talk through lights. And I know that it was a workshop meeting, and it was just the ISD and the council sitting together, talking and sharing about infrastructure. And I think I heard over and over the city secretary at that time say that they wanted to have a meeting. The city wanted to have a meeting with you all because they had concerns about growth and the ability for the city to be able to handle the growth that was going on in the school district. And so they were talking about at that point in time in 2022 there were 2022.
September of 2022. You're correct.
There were 530 students, which was an increase from that previous year. There's way more than that now at the school, Ms. Curry. And so that was one of those. The summary, there was no additional water or sewage usage is expected after the expansion is complete. A total of additional 50 fixtures with toilets being more efficient, that low flow 1.2 gallons, and no need to replace the existing 2-inch meter. The school has a well that is used for irrigation, and that new football field would be turf grass and would not require water except to cool, and the expansion would be more efficient on all utilities, water, sewer, and electricity. Dustin Lozada, who is our contractor, informed the council that the wastewater treatment plant was only at about 50% capacity because that was some of the issues. There was discussion about grease traps and creating, there was a lot of conversation about grease traps at the school and making sure that those were addressed. And so I know that Dustin asked a question about fire suppression, but there was no further discussion beyond, yes, there's going to be fire suppression system. And so it sounded to me like an awkward meeting. Council didn't know what questions to ask, and you all were presenting all the good things about what you were building. And so there was
we were presenting what we had on.
right, presenting what you had on the plans. And so what was not talked about or discussed during that time, or maybe I didn't hear it, but were you aware that in 2022 the town only had one water well? Still, we have the one water well.
Yes.
And so that's why a lot of that concern was there. So it just, to me, sounded like a really awkward meeting, and I don't know that in 2022 we really got to the bottom of the infrastructure needs. And so to be called in and go, we need this, that was new to the city, because that wasn't part of what was heard when that discussion was
We
had.
had plans open and we
The
were,
plans?
yes.
Yeah.
We went through the plans, we discussed the way we were gonna handle those items. And you're right, they did ask questions, and we told them how we were gonna handle sewage, and we also told them how we were gonna handle the water.
Plans were also delivered.
So,
The plans were delivered too, over a year ago.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
The plans were also delivered.
Right.
For.
Right, absolutely, I get that, absolutely. And so that, I just listened to the meeting myself and kind of went, well, it was an awkward conversation. I don't know that a lot
You keep
was.
saying awkward, it's like you're trying to present it in a different way. It was actually a very good
It
conversation.
was good, it was productive, but it
Okay.
was, I don't think that anybody got to the heart of what the needs were. What was, like,
They asked us specific things, and we
They
went
did.
through those items. They asked us about their capacity with the storage, and what was going to happen when we come online. And we went through and explained that, and then we explained to them what we were going to do for the fire line.
I didn't hear all that in the,
I was in that meeting. I don't recall anything about the fire suppression system.
Well, no, we didn't talk about fire.
Yeah, well, you said fire line though.
Fire line. We talked about the line because what we talked about is we were going to tap onto and come out, and then it was going to split. We would have domestic and fire.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it was
but we
never
did talk about-
decided size or anything. Only thing we talked about size on was as far as flushometers and things like that, because the old school has still the old flushometers, which use more water. We were
They do.
going with the
Yes,
new ones, but
that is
this
true,
one
yeah.
less, yes.
so anyway, so I just listened to that meeting for myself. Rachel, utility manager, did you have any other questions or?
Yeah, on that meter, what size was that y'all needed? The new meter that y'all are requesting?
For
Two
the
inch.
Another
2-inch? And you said it was for the middle school
Yeah.
part?
Yeah, we're dividing
Okay.
elementary, middle, and high school.
And
Yep.
since we're on one water meter and the resident, we've made it very public.
Oh,
We're at our,
one water well.
one water well. We are at our limit on water meters, so until the second well is up and running, we don't have any meters to give at this time. So that's kind of,
Okay, we'll make provision then.
so that's, it's just
So
a
we're
reality
waiting
of.
on, it'll be July.
okay.
The TCE paperwork is clicking through, and we're waiting on that ourselves.
Understood.
So we're at a couple.
The only reason we added the water meter is because we would essentially have a water line running under the building, which we don't want to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So we kind of looked it to the back, but it's like we can run.
Right.
We had a water meter and cap it later.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That's not a problem.
So some of the, so there is the engineering, how do you connect a 6-inch to a 12-inch concern that we have, but on the other side of it is, when you do the TCEQ meter count, meter math with TCEQ, that changes everything, because a 2-inch meter for a school district, it kind of is different than an inch and a
It's
half
not
meter
just
for a
one
house.
connection, considered one connection, so
So we have a phone call into one of our on-call engineers. We're still waiting to hear back from him on some of that TCEQ meter math, to know how many meters.
It's
Yeah.
equivalent to.
Right, when it's equivalent
Because
to.
we only have 27 coming,
Right,
It's about 8.
so it's 8.
It's 8.
And then the addition of that fire suppression line and the impact as well, and what does that count as? And so
Remember, we're only using that 32,000 gallons once, just to fill it up.
And so your storage is underground, your storage is a 12-inch.
That's
underground.
correct. It's in the pipe and it's in the building essentially.
Yes, in the building.
And so I think we had talked before about, doing saying, hey, we need to flush this line and we need to flush the building every year. So, charge us 32,000 gallons at the beginning of the year for flow tests. That's a billing option. That way we're not getting free water.
So you gave a bunch of numbers and I wrote down 32,778. Is that what that entire 12-inch water line and all the pipes filled?
Inside the building.
Inside the building is 32,778. All of
The
it.
outside is about 13,000 and the building is 19,000 roughly.
and there's pipes underground, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
It's
and
12
y'all know that,
12-inch pipe.
that land over there is a very
Yes, it's,
swell,
yes.
stream,
it's got
swell,
clay in it.
right, so
There's,
there's leaks under the ground.
If there's leaks on our line, those 2 detector check assemblies have meters on them. And those meters will spin if there's a leak. If you leave a fire hydrant partially open, it will leak, and those meters will spin.
Right.
So we can monitor that however we need to. And then we have 2 connection points, so we're not taking all the water from the 6-inch line.
Right.
The other thing too is we're not trying to fill up that 12-inch every time this building's, hopefully the building sprinklers never go out, and we never talk about this ever again. But inside the buildings, there's 4-inch lines that separate all those zones out. So not every zone, so we're really only pulling about 4 inches worth of water out, 4-inch diameter pipe out at any given moment for that zone.
And then the plumbing company is still the Dustin Bridge you talked to?
Who's your plumber right now?
Yeah.
So
Well,
you
Well,
there's,
I'm not sure what question you're asking.
Yeah,
Plumbing company,
The one that Dustin, the one that requested that us to.
the
oh,
plumber,
he came
the
in
plumbers
and
is,
requested that's Mercer then. Okay.
but they're not
There's 2
plumbers,
plumbers.
those plumbers, Mueller has been
Oh,
doing
yeah.
plumbing.
Is
So
that-
that's
that
why I make
we
sure
also-
you get it right on record.
The-
Mercer's the one that's doing the underground.
Yeah, they're doing this, the
Right.
site utilities.
They're doing the outside and the other one's doing the inside.
Okay.
Correct, yeah.
Mercer and Miller.
Mhm.
and the ag well is using the ag well for water source versus chlorinated water from the city.
You talk about for irrigation.
The ag well, to be able to use the ag well to fill your 12-inch water line. Is that not an option?
Just to fill it? We could look at just filling it, but we still need to be connected to the city for pressure.
I don't know if that was a good question you have to ask, 'cause that's
Yeah,
far away
just
from
saying,
the
is there an
building.
alternate way that we can fill the line?
That way they're not wasting.
Yeah. Mhm.
They're not taking
Taking it,
30,000
yeah. Oh, I
gallons out
Yeah.
of their
Mhm.
building. I mean, not building, sorry, their building.
Well, yeah, out of the line, yeah. The city line.
I know you only have like a, 140,000 gallon capacity. Or the 250 gallon pumping rate.
Yeah, 250 GPM,
Okay.
44,000 storage, ground storage.
So when you look at some of those numbers for those entire zones, they pump about, they're requiring about 226 gallons per minute. So each one of those zones should be able to keep up with your pump, no problem. If you look at the numbers really closely, there's an additional 100 GPM that they added for hose reels. I don't know if they have hose reels inside or not. No.
Do you have any other questions, Council? Rachel, did you have any other? Dustin? This is good information to hear,
Mhm.
and this is more detailed than what we've heard before. So I appreciate that. I appreciate your time being here tonight.
Anytime, if you have questions, you can reach out to us. I can share my number tonight, I can share,
I have your email.
you have my email? No, that's right, yeah, we've already. So, yeah, anytime like that, yeah. I mean, we'd be happy to sit down and go through anything.
Yeah, to a
Yeah.
workshop.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Right over there.
Thank you.
And then we're going to move from this presentation to our EcoFlow engineer presentation.
No, you're good, you're good. Or you are to myself.
So these are students from a bioagriculture engineering class at Texas A&M, and we found Texas Target Communities and applied to them in their program. I have mine already. And we had to compete for these students, and gave them our job for them to work on, and they have been working hard on this job since last September and just finished at the end of April. Yeah, newly graduated. And this is their capstone project, so all engineering students have to do a capstone project, and this is theirs. I did go to the, what was the one at Zachary called?
Oh, it was the engineering showcase.
Engineering showcase. It was 5 floors of engineering projects. Wow. But I did go see theirs and then checked out the competition just in their area and saw some of their classmates and their projects. And those were very some of them were mind-boggling. Anyway, they were good too. But I liked ours better. And then we went for your final presentation at the AgriLife building, where you presented with your classmates, with all the engineers sitting there. So the engineers that we have used as on-call engineers and engineers working on projects, they used to have to bake off projects for their capstone piece. They were very excited that you all get to do real things and get hands-on. So thank you for your work that you've done here in town. And so you've been looking at the wastewater infrastructure, and I'm going to let y'all kill the lights and do your presentation, because it was a great one when you gave it.
I'm going to turn off the lights.
So like Mayor Buck said, we're from Texas A&M University. We're from the Department of Biological and Agricultural Engineering. On paper, we're EcoFlow engineers, and our client was the city of Burton. I'm Lauren Epperson.
I'm Wyatt Casper. I'm Mr. Hernandez.
And I'm Greg Hayes.
Our project manager was Dr. Buser. He was one of the faculty within the department.
So for this project, our problem statement that we created was to address outdated and inaccurate wastewater infrastructure records that hinder effective asset management, increasing overflow risk, and inefficient allocation of maintenance and rehabilitation resources. The issues that we ran into with this project were the outdated wastewater record system that dates back to the 1980s, infrastructure overflow along North Railroad Street, especially during heavy rains like this past weekend. Wastewater pipe conditions throughout the city were unknown, and then of course the limited funding opportunities for the city. And some of the data that we worked with for the city of Burton, we were informed that there are less than 300 residents, 240 of which were serviced by the wastewater treatment plant. And also on top of that, also the Burton ISD with 600 students and faculty were also being serviced by the wastewater infrastructure.
Some of the client requirements that we were made to address were to build a comprehensive wastewater system map through ArcGIS, the capacity analysis and load assessment on the actual sewer lines themselves, conduct an assessment on the infrastructure. This would be manhole and pipe conditions, and then provide some recommendations for system improvements. Our specific deliverables that we were able to complete was the ArcGIS wastewater system map. We completed our hydraulic load and capacity analysis, our infrastructure condition assessments, and then our recommendations for the city improvements, along with cost estimates and alongside our final engineering reports. Some of the constraints we faced were some regulatory requirements. This was through TCEQ, the EPA, just following those guidelines. ordinances and codes, kind of every city has a few. This one didn't have as many, so it was kind of streamlined. A lot of things were just harder when you don't have ordinances and codes to kind of just look through and go through. And then the financial limitations, the funding opportunities for Burton. I know it's you're not the city of Katy, you're not pulling in millions of dollars every year, so it's a little harder to implement some of these recommendations. Alongside with records and documentation and kind of the lack of them, one of the biggest problems with our project that we faced was the wastewater treatment plan maps were the original map plans from the 80s. Very outdated, total to about 63 manholes. When we did our assessment and counted, we found 83, and that was with a whole city, a whole strip actually not located. So there's a few more than kind of presented in what y'all have documented.
So yes, as a team, we were assessed. This project was able to assess the wastewater infrastructure of the city of Burton, which included main distribution lines, any residential service connections, and any facilities. The work did involve ArcGIS mapping, capacity analysis, and condition assessments for the development of prioritized recommendations for improvements. Any physical repairs, construction, and detailed engineering designs were not included within the scope, but we did make sure that any urgent issues that were identified during the whole assessment were documented for future consideration of the city.
So we worked our project in 4 different phases. Phase 1 was manhole and pipe condition assessments on each of the manholes and the lines. Phase 2 was the mapping of all current wastewater infrastructure. Phase 3 was an analysis on hydraulic load and capacity of the wastewater infrastructure. And Phase 4 was the development of prioritized recommendation implementations that we have given to City Council and will be presenting on today.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about phase 3, the hydraulic load capacity. We used these 2 equations right here. The first one was the Means equation, and this is what we use to evaluate the wastewater capacity along the lines. The second one, the Hayes-Williams equation, we use that to ensure that the lift stations were operating as efficiently and as designed. So from that, we were able to calculate capacity loads. And there's a more detailed analysis in the package that we provided you. But along here, we have a hydraulic load capacity for the North Railroad Line section, the Mulberry Street section, west side of town, and also the south side. The highest capacity that we were able to find was less than 50%. All the others were around between 10 and 30%. So by this finding, the actual capacity within the line itself is not the issue. It's more along the lines of the blockages that are in the pipes that could potentially cause the overflows that are seen.
Yes, so for the assessment of structural integrity and the service life of the system, we're able to use manhole inspection forms that you can see on the left. We're able to take down where the depth of the manhole, whether they're able to be located or open, the type of wall material, rising material, and the conditions that we found them in. And on the right is a video of the screen recording of Survey 123, which we used to incorporate all the physical documentation, digitize it, and link it to an ArcGIS mapping software that we were able to share with the mayor. Next, these are some of the manhole conditions that we found while taking site visits throughout the whole year. We have broken ring covers, grease buildups, and corrosion and pitting. For the broken ring covers, this is really just vital to make sure we are on track and keeping them up to date, because any broken ring covers can cause for infiltration of stormwater and can back up the system. Grease buildup in the pipes themselves can cause blockages down the road and reduce flow, which will cause more damage to the system overall. And the corrosion and pitting is just an indication of chemical deterioration in the wastewater system itself. So it's just a key point to keep an eye on, just to make sure everything's up to date and working well. Next, we also find broken risers and missing ring covers. This also, as you can see, just creates more problems as stormwater can get in, any debris can get in, and that causes more blockage down the road, and it causes more strain on the system itself, which will deteriorate its lifespan. And the drop pipes, as we were able to find a few, they just indicate different elevation levels with wastewater systems. And they were in good condition for the time being, but just it's important to make sure they're up to date and making sure they're not too damaged. Lastly, for manhole conditions, we're able to find some flooded manholes And this usually just indicates higher elevation around the manhole or downstream blockages, which we found. And we also found some paved over manholes, which just causes a hassle for maintaining the wastewater system, because this can cause problems over time, and it's a hassle to get in contact with TxDOT because some of these were on TxDOT roads, so it just takes a process, takes a few weeks to get into having to break them out and open them again to assess to see if that's where problems may be. So it just causes problems for both sides overall.
So along with manhole conditions, another thing that the city of Burton should keep in mind are the pipe conditions as well. So this also includes cracks in the pipelines, maybe broken pipes due to construction nearby or other events, root intrusions from nearby trees or tree systems. Also, other fluid substances that may not belong in the wastewater line due to inflow and infiltration, and then also remnants that are not biodegradable, such as certain waste products. So, along with pipe conditions, we were able to see, we saw this wastewater pipe along West Washington Street, and this pipeline services the lift station nearby. And as you can see, it's severely degraded. The temporary solution for the PVC pipes to service the lift station is no longer functioning, and one of the recommendations is for the city of Burton to address this issue.
So this brings us to our recommended implementations. We recommend that the city perform a CCTV video and cleaning inspection, specifically along the North Railroad line and along the front of Highway 290. That's about where the gas station is, where it curves into Washington Street. There's a lot of flood. That's where the flooded manhole was in the previous slide. Also, we recommend conducting smoke testing along the North Railroad line. This will really be crucial in identifying points of inflow and infiltration. Not really worried about illegal hookups and connections, but it can identify those as well. Just mainly looking for inflow and infiltration where stormwater is actually infiltrating through the pipe and adding to the amount of flow through the system, which will increase the capacity. Next would be to get on a routine maintenance system. So this kind of involves every 10 to 15 years going through and performing CCTV video and cleanings along the entire system. This will help to identify points that kind of need to be addressed quickly and anything of aging material, outdated stuff, to help identify that quickly and catch that. Next, we recommend to install inflow protectors underneath the manholes themselves. This will actually help catch small amounts of debris and stormwater. So if you have a broken manhole ring or just a missing cover, this will kind of serve as kind of a slow down kind of detention pond to kind of just catch up all the water and not just let it overflow the system. We also recommend the implementation of trash cans in the men's and women's restrooms. At the school, we've gotten, people have just talked about how there's not really a bathroom or a trash can in the men's and women's restrooms. And then this kind of leads to just things being flushed that shouldn't be flushed, such as feminine products and all of that. We actually did notice a significant amount of just non-flushable materials kind of at the treatment plant. There's a screen that catches all of this excess debris. Lots of feminine products, just other things that necessarily shouldn't be flushed down the trash or down the toilet. This goes with all other public restrooms as well, at the speedy stop, anywhere, just having trash cans around for these kind of things.
So going into funding, obviously it can cost a lot of money to implement these recommendations. So in y'all's packets, we have cost estimates and then also various funding that y'all can apply for. I won't go too much into detail since it goes more into detail in y'all's papers and everything. But these are state funded and federally funded. Some of them are loans and grants, and then just different programs that allow you to get funding for upgrades to wastewater infrastructure. So moving on to our acknowledgements, we would like to acknowledge Mayor Karen Buck of the City of Burton, Mrs. Belden, the utility coordinator, Mr. Lozano, the utility contractor, and the residents of City of Burton. We also want to acknowledge Dr. Buser. He was one of our professors and project manager, and then Mr. Corgi, engineer from Peterson Nichols, and then Texas Target Communities, who sponsored our project and funded it. And thank you.
We're actually going to pull up our map as well. This will actually show y'all what we were actually able to complete and show y'all kind of the city. not what I'm looking at. Sorry. So the red dots are all of the manhole locations. The blue lines are the 6-inch sewer lines, with the 8-inch lines being the light green. All the lift stations are marked as green squares. Any blue polygon area, kind of rectangle that you see, would be the unlocated manholes or the unconfirmed manholes. So past 11A onto the school property in the top left, you can see they do continue through there. Manholes do, however, due to construction and just construction volume, we weren't able to actually inspect those and perform anything on those. Alongside of the south side with Amkin, this was the line I kind of mentioned earlier of this unknown area. There are manholes, because on Google Maps you can still kind of drive through and you can see one. But however, when we performed an on-site visit, this was actually behind a wooden gate, this kind of road right there. So we weren't able to actually get back there and perform anything on those.
How many lift stations do we have?
You all have 7 lift stations.
And they're probably all out on 1697?
Yes, ma'am. There's actually one right here. We called it the Highway 290. It's how it's referenced in the original drawings. The Niddle lift station, the Amkin, the newest West Washington one, the Houston Street, which services the City Hall, the St. John's, and then at the very top by the fire station is the Lucier.
Yeah.
So this is what we were actually able to present with the map and the funding, the map with the deliverables. Like I said earlier, we got to 83 total, but that doesn't take into account any of the blue polygon regions. Do you have any questions for us?
Also to add, this is something that we're giving the city officials, so whenever they go and perform maintenance, they can have it on their iPad or just any digital device and be able to see where each manhole is just by the coordinates that we got of each one in the field. So it's significantly easier than flipping through 83 maps and drawings that sometimes don't align.
So another thing that the ArcGIS does is when parts are replaced, you can put them right in.
Yes, sir.
So that you know before you leave the warehouse what part you need when that there's something going on in that manhole or in that lift station. You already know.
Yes, sir. And clicking on any of the manholes will pull up that form that we kind of showed in our presentation, the video. You can click on it and scroll through and it'll upload all of our actual assessment data into this. So it's kind of all in one. You can carry it on a phone and it'll have your current location as you kind of walk up, and it'll just move up as you kind of move up to it. So you can be standing directly on top of it, and this will kind of help you.
Okay. Thank you. You want to walk us through your packet?
Yes, so on the first page of the packet, and on the first page of the packet would be the capacity load analysis section. This was kind of broken down into all the areas that kind of made sense, where you kind of see the lines bridge over and jump over. So everything under the North Railroad line, we call that surface by North Railroad, which goes down the North Railroad Street and is I guess through the 8-inch line there. The west side and south side were both split up into kind of how it makes sense, just looking at the plans. And yeah, everything was well under 50%, so that kind of led us to believe that, hey, you guys aren't limited by capacity, there's something else wrong here. Like, y'all aren't, that's not really happening. So we kind of look, and I believe at the last city council meeting, we brought up the fact that they pulled 30 pounds of rock out of the North Railroad line. So, I mean, that's already a huge deal, and probably one of the main causes that why you're receiving those backups. Because as you guys you reduce the area of the pipe, that means less flow can go through. So that's why you'll have those backups and buildups. That's why you kind of see when it rains a lot, that's also another indication of there's a blockage with inflow and infiltration. So when it rains, everything works perfectly fine when it's not raining, but the moment we get a lot of rain, everything backs up. So that's another just key point, and that's what we're kind of looking to address. On the next page, I actually put together a cost estimate, a total cost estimate. So program A would be just the inflow reduction. So this will be just CCTV video, inflow protectors, smoke testing is on program B for the testing and evaluations, and then the maintenance plan. We actually went ahead and broke that up into a 5-year plan, so that way you guys can implement this by 5 years, roughly capping each year at about $20,000. So for year 1, it'll be implementing half of the inflow protectors, the little plastic pieces. So those will be, and yes sir, the first item right there. We've identified which manholes specifically those need to go on first to kind of provide the most impact. Then just do the smoke testing along with the CCTV video along the North Railroad line and the Highway 290 kind of line that we were talking about. Then year 2 would be the other half of the manhole protectors along with the CCTV, which is cleaning and camera, so it's kind of a 2-for-1 thing. And then years 3 through 5 are just hammer out the rest of the maintenance program. The total roughly comes out, if you do all of it, it's about $100,000. So split out over 5 years, about $20,000. So that kind of works out nicely. Moving on to the final page, that would be actually kind of a more complete list of the funding opportunities that we were able to find. A lot of them are through the Texas Water Development Board. Those are the bulleted ones at the bottom. The ones at the top are more federal. And yeah, that's kind of the packet that we went through.
So the news I'll announce shortly that y'all will probably be going for is that we were accepted into the WUTAP program.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
We did apply, yeah.
We did include one that we're not 100% sure that you guys would qualify for. It is the the community development one. It should be the first on the list.
Right, the CDBG, Community Development Block Grant.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so that's the one we've been able, those are the only grants we're able to use on South Side of Burton. That's
Right,
what
okay.
got new water lines, middle lift station rehab, and that's the only place we can use that. It's
Okay.
not part of town. Until they change the ways they do their
Right.
map,
Yes.
that's the only,
That's
only-
what I found too
Yeah.
looking through it. I just wanted to include that just in case. But yes, that's our presentation and project.
Do we have a small thank you for a gift for you all? Oh, y'all have a poster too. Where's your
Oh,
poster?
yes. Okay.
Y'all have a poster too. This is gonna be a permanent addition for a while.
No.
I know.
So during our actual engineering showcase, this was the first award we had to create. So this is kind of what we were judged on for our entire year. This is kind of how we make it look for 1 year. It kind of just goes through our methodology, how we did everything, kind of just screenshots of the map, summaries, our recommendations, and this is how it'll actually look in ArcGIS with the condition assessments that you can just click on and pull up. Just pull up and you can scroll with all the photos, and it has it labeled north, south, east, west, manhole, etc. And then our cost estimate, and then our impact statement with our references.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we do have gifts for you that all the A&M students have the same. Ice cream. You can trade around, and it's a gift certificate on the inside. There's 2 more. 1, 2,
Thank you.
and then a hat. Thank you all so much.
Yes, thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Did y'all have any questions?
Do you have any questions? Council, you have any questions for them? It's pretty impressive, right?
A lot of work, a lot of hours in town.
You got any?
I know. Saturdays.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Congratulations, John. Good luck in your careers.
Yes, they already graduated too. They just wouldn't
They
let
just
you-
walked last
May
week.
7th, May 7th, so.
Congratulations.
Honors and distinction, right? All of you?
Yes.
Yes.
And my mom is hard.
Thank you all so much.
Yes.
So when do y'all all start working?
Job
Start
market.
Monday.
Monday? Oh,
Job
boy.
lined up
Good
already,
job.
huh?
Yeah. I had an interview Friday, So.
Good luck.
Good deal.
Yeah, good luck. Thank you so
EIT
much.
in the middle of June after I take my FE.
That's
Go celebrate first.
Yeah. Trust me, I've been doing that plenty of time now.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to our consent agenda then. We're gonna move to the minutes of April 14th, those are there in your packet. Any additions or corrections to those?
I didn't see it, so.
Okay. Minutes of the April 28th meeting where we hired Amanda. And,
I don't really see anything.
okay.
So,
Okay. And then, see, financial reports, next after that. So the city of Burton for the month of April, the income was $13,415.14. Expenses were $11,232.25. And that left a surplus of $2,182.89. We'll move, the chart of accounts, yes. It'll be separate. Chart, let's go back and pick that up. Chart of accounts was a separate sheet for you all.
Had issues with getting into the bank.
Right, so we finally got her some information, and so there's the list of chart of accounts, and we still have that C's money fund, but you are working to use it. Let's get some confirmation on that, and then we'll have that process moving forward. And then that would be the almost the last piece of the police department's closing. So, let's see, we're on to, at this point, Rachel, we're looking at the water and sewer profit and loss statements for April. So the income for the month was $22,367.12. The expenses were $31,588.70, leaving the city with a deficit of $9,221.58. So I'm going to ask you to please turn the page on that to the supporting documents. You'll see that on 4/30, we received a bill from HDU, and that was for $12,440. You turn the page, there's the itemized of it, and you'll see the line drawn. So that North Railroad, this is just six of the 7 call-outs.
Yeah, the 7 one.
The 7 one we haven't received yet. So 6 of the 7 call-outs total $10,300. So I've got a lot of expensive rock in my office. But that was 6 call-outs on that one. And so, any questions on water and sewer? Move to the mayor's report, so that is in your packet, it's the next thing. And I have put in the updates from water well number 5, the Canoga lift, and that wastewater review of that North Railroad line and where we're having the problems. Those are all integrated into my mayor's report. And so I broke down, because all of our students were wrapping up with Texas Target Community, so this was the BA/EN students, the bio ag engineering students, the planning students have finished their things. Email hit late today. I think they've published their book. I don't know if I need to proof it or it's our book now to have from them of their research. They compiled all their projects into one document, and so that did hit late this afternoon. That the transportation students also, I haven't seen anything from them. But know that one student from that class that worked with us was chosen for an award and was also in attendance at the National Planning Conference in Detroit, and that student was the grandson of Glenn and Jerry Linke. He was a part of that class, so that was fun to have him be a part of that, and I think he enjoyed it too, to come back to, where he would go see Burp on their own. So, anyway. Note that on the bottom of page 1, water well number 5, ribbon cutting is Tuesday, July 14th at 10 a.m. Rachel is going to be working, and I'll be working with her on that water plant cleanup. So Dustin, there's a lot of stuff rolling around inside the fence. We're coming for it. If you want it, you better hide it. Because we're coming for it. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. And so Rachel's we'll report more on that, but she's working on the fencing line, and then we'll wrap it with that privacy wrap like we did the wastewater treatment plant. And then I think after the ribbon cutting, we'll start measuring and ordering the things that you wrap around the pipes to freeze protection. So we'll start getting water well number 5 ready for wrapping. Council, it will not have the same wrapping that 4 does, that big metal stuff, because that was way more money than you could afford at that point in time. So that's that. Canoodle lift station. Did hear from Chad from Bevco. He is the engineer on that project. He heard from or checked in with the company in East Texas. They are starting to get some of the equipment, still waiting on other pieces. They expect pumps to arrive at their shop next week. Right, so that's this week. But don't expect control panel to arrive until sometime in June. So once they get that control panel, then they'll be able to come this direction. But we're still waiting to hear from them. Texas Water Development Board. So we've got 2 things we're working on with them. One of them is the PIP was accepted, so we're good there. The second item there is that water system and infrastructure grant opened. We've submitted that first round of documents. The WSIG, they're very picky about what documents they're receiving, and so even though we already approved some documents, we'll be doing some more later tonight. For the water well, I'm in the middle page. I do have an update there. The water well, the last payments were sent out on May 7th, so last Thursday, as well as the certificate of completed construction to both our engineers and to the drilling company. So at the bottom of the page, one of the things we began working on that you all gave permission last month for was to work the scope of work concerning the city's infrastructure on the ISD campus, to look at that, to see what's going on, why are we having so many issues on that North Railroad line as stuff is moving in there. If you turn further back in your packet, you'll see a dark page. It's toward the back. I think it's the last page. Yeah, it's the last several pages. Is the actual AOCA agreement. So it's the master services agreement there, and then the scope of services. And so Rocky and I worked a long time to get that scope of services down. And you'll see how it is all spelled out. We went back and forth and went over it with several fine-tooth combs as best as we were able. Dustin took a good look at it and was kind of impressed with that scope of work that we're looking at. It's very detailed. And so that's what a scope of services contract looks like with them. We go back and forth and get those details down. Any questions about that? So we've already had our first meeting with them and met the team and have started sharing documents. So they have the documents they need in-house to begin learning more about us before they come on site. Let's see. So met with the resident concerning drainage from South Main from the road into her yard and documented that a bit an issue. Tommy, I went back again yesterday and did some more documentation, not just at your house, but even further down on South Main to look at what the drainage was doing down there as well. I have that documented and we'll work with I don't have an email to Wesley yet, but he's the next email. I've been already emailed text out earlier today about Washington and 390, and so we'll email Wesley about when we were able to get some work, put us on the work list. This is what we need to work on down on South Main. The sinkhole that we had open up on April 22nd, there at the Pecan Grove, text dots. What was the phone call, Rachel?
I'm sorry?
The text dot of the sinkhole phone call
Today?
today. Yes.
He got with Dustin on locating, to make sure there's no water or sewer lines in the vicinity before they get, bids, correct?
I told him I'll get back with you tomorrow. If I get something else. I think the water's clear. We might have some sewer that runs down.
Some down in there.
But I think the water's clear.
Okay. I've been sending him pictures just to update how big the hole might be, getting or not getting. I just take random pictures after big rainstorms and send it on to text dot and keep him posted.
Getting larger, that last rain we had the other night.
So I have not done, it's changing because there's at least 2 feet of two big different barriers that are like over an open hole, and I'm pretty sure they would have not set up the barriers.
Yeah, we didn't set them up. We
They
backed
were,
them
they
up
were
a
on
little bit,
solid
so-
ground, so there is some land disappearing, and it's just erosion and falling in, it is. And so I just keep
I did
sending
battle
pictures.
those barriers, driving them over, oh my gosh.
Yeah. But you got them in there, so thank you.
Big
Yeah.
old
There will be, I mentioned the joint meeting I had at the fairgrounds with the whole county. And they're beginning to advertise now, Stars Over Washington County. That is going to be July 4th at the fairgrounds in Brenham, so pay attention to that. But there will be fireworks at the fairgrounds for the 250th anniversary of the nation fair. I did go through and update, if you'll turn the page, the engineering consult work projects. This is a list I created and continue to add to and update. I started it in June of 2024. And so if you look at water, the mapping the Burton water lines, fire hydrants, flush lines, all the things there, a lot of that's included in the PIF. And then on May 6th, we got the letter that we were accepted to the WUTAP program. That is a very hard program to get into. And so I'll visit with you, Rachel, tomorrow. We'll pick an engineering firm that we'll work with. And what they do is come in and help us map our system and manage our system and better manage our system. And so we're very excited about that. It's a program through Texas Water Development Board. The age of the water plant structures, the booster pump, that's also included in the PIF. In terms of sewer, mapping all the sewer lines and almost anything sewer, that just got taken care of with our engineering students from A&M. The Canada lift station revamped this year as well. Assessing the wastewater treatment plant and its ability to handle growth, that was just done. And looking at this sewage and wastewater load on North Railroad was just done. We still have to work on that Amkin lift station, the actual Amkin lift station. That's still on that list.
And I'll speak on that.
In a little bit, that's a different, yes, but that's on their property, yes. And then, Tommy, you'll see at the bottom, I did add the new 624, that is your report there of South Main. That's where that's included on this. So you'll see those updates all the way through on that. Amanda?
Okay, well, my first 2 weeks have been quite interesting and I'm learning a lot. I applied for and ordered my notary public book and stamp, so that way if Rachel's out, then if we have people that come in that need notarizing, I can do that. Like I said earlier, the recent election showed two tie races. We've never had that before, so pretty interesting. Breaking me in right, it was great. Learning a lot. We will be trying to come up with some type of policy so that if this happens again, we know exactly what steps to take and just kind of moving forward, because in our ordinances, the only thing we have listed from 1972 to current is that we changed council member terms from 1-year terms to 2-year terms. It's literally all we have on the books for how we handle elections. So I am going to be working on that once we get through this election. Karen and I met with Citizen State Bank so that I could get access to the bank account. You will see further in the agenda where we're going to be talking about y'all giving me permission to call up there to access if I need to, simply because Citizen State Bank said that was an issue with Angela, that she wasn't given that. I'm not a signer, but just to be able to call up there and say, what is our ending balance today if we needed that. She did not have that, so they could not give her any information, so that hinders my job to be able to get the reports, and that's why the chart of accounts is not in the actual packet, because I didn't have access to any of that information, so I can't run reports. So that is what that agenda item will be coming up later for. I am requesting approval to attend the Texas Municipal League Small Town Conference next Thursday and Friday. This is a conference that I think would be beneficial. It is for different officials and city secretaries, different people within the county government for 15,000 population or less. This kind of helps give you an overview, or me an overview of what I need to be doing, how legally, what I can do, what I can't do, how I best serve y'all, what are some things that I can be learning to do a better job. I listed a bunch of things that they're supposed to go over in the 2 days. My budget is $250. The class is $275, so I'm simply asking to be able to go. So I just need feedback on that.
I think Angela used to go to those. She would go to them every year, so. Yep.
The only other thing that's not in my report is I did do a webinar with Texas Municipal Clerk Certification Program. It's a 2 to 3 year program. It's 4 course loads. You have to do 4 homework modules and exams per course load, but then at the end it's like taking college credit to be a city secretary, a certified city secretary. So I'm looking into that, just simply gathering information. I did talk with Gina Bellinger, the city secretary for the city of Brenham. If y'all decide to send me through the program, it is all online. She is gifting us the first course set of books, so that saves about $500. Also, with me having my master's degree, if I go through the program, you do have to do recertification every 5 years. The first recertification, after I get through the first set, 50 credits of that will be replaced with my master's degree. So the city would only have to send me to 10 hours of things, which would be one seminar. And that would complete my 5-year certification. So something to keep in mind for future. I'm still gathering information, seeing how all of it works, what it would actually cost to do that. If we do this, though, after I get through the first course, there are 4, and pass the first exam, the TMCA does have a scholarship program where they would send me, I would be able to go to the seminars for free. That would save the city about $350 to $425 per seminar, and I have to go to 8. So once I get through the first one, they could all be covered. I was able to transfer Angela's membership to me, so that saved the city another $125 this year.
Rachel?
We had no trash complaints. The water loss was at a 1.76%, and I believe that's the lowest since we've been catching water loss. I went to a Burton ISD meeting on 4/27 for their infrastructure needs. I attended the EMS Medical Pod open house. That was a great turnout. Attended the A&M final project. Students did great there. I did help where I was needed for the elections. I had to open up the office early, close after they left. I rearranged the room a million times, and so helped them out with that. I worked with Karen on getting some documents needed for the grant, and then I had a resident request for the water tower to be painted. I did see, I think the last time it was painted was 2017.
About 9 years.
Does that sound about right? Okay. So she was just putting that in our ears. And then not on the utility report, I am getting a quote. The guy that did the gates at the wastewater treatment plant, he was very reasonable. I asked him to come around, well, I sent him pictures, but he actually came on site to walk around our water plant and get those, yeah, trying to tidy it up a little bit over there because it's been needing to be done. So waiting on his quote. So, and that also will help with being in TCU compliance because there's some parts that kids can get under and whatnot. So that's it. Of course.
Justin.
Okay, not much on the water side. This past month, mainly sewer. We had so all the work that we did from the school back that way, didn't have any issues there. We had one small issue that was kind of behind the pavilion of the cotton gin. We think it might have been a little bit of leftover debris that made it down. That way we got it out. Hadn't had any issues. That was before this Sunday night, early Monday morning rain. So that rain didn't have any issues at the sewer plant. It took it. We had high flow, but no backups. So that was a good thing. Last month I told you we had a rotor assembly on a sludge pump that was giving us issues. I got it taken out and it's taken to get examined to see if it's worth fixing, or I'll be getting a quote from the city on that. They said they were about 10 days backed up.
Okay, is this a sludge
It's
pump
a,
roller?
it's a rotator assembly for the sludge pump that returns from the clarifier.
It should go out. We have,
Yeah, there's some seals and stuff out, and
that's not one we worked on before.
No, this one is from when the wastewater treatment plant was rehabbed. I'm guessing that one may have been 2015. It's been a while, and it runs about 12 hours a day. There's two of them, which still one's working. They alternate every 12 hours. One takes over the other one. Monday after the big rain, we have a pump that's not working. It's trying to start, but it's not working at the recheck lift station. We're going to pull that in the morning. I'll give you all more details if it's ragged up or if it needs to be taken in for repair. And then the last thing is the Amkin lift station. I call it a lift station. So there used to be a lift station between at the elementary school, between the classrooms and the gym. They relocated it, I guess, before Amkin bought the property to the very back corner of the property along the creek. But they didn't take the lift station out. They just left the can there and made it like a manhole. And it's a steel can. It's a steel lift station can, and just the insides are flaking off, scaling off, and so there's a couple big flakes in there that kind of fell in between, down in the main section where it flows out toward the lift station. I'm going to get in there and try to clean it and access it. I told Rachel that I'll give a recommendation of what needs to be done. I'm scared to. I've had one before in another city, and instead of trying to sandblast that and knocking holes in the wall, we slip lined it with a like a fiberglass manhole or something, and then slip lined it maybe 6 inches smaller diameter than what's existing in concrete around it. That way it stops the rust. But once we get in there and examine what's all in the bottom, I'll get back. It is flowing and open now. We got that Monday.
Right, I've got a piece of a tool out of there as well.
Okay. But tomorrow, the blue check and that, we're going to address it, and I'll be in to give you some updates.
So you're going to do the blue check one tomorrow and then look at the
Amkin.
So
I got
the blue
this.
check is a pump.
It's a pump, correct. There's 2 pumps in that one. One is currently working, and the other one is not.
And then on the Amkin, what did you call it? A can? The Amkin can?
It was a lift station at once upon a time, and then
Right.
they moved the lift station, but they didn't abandon the can.
Right.
Every other manhole in this town is concrete.
Exactly,
But this,
exactly.
That's why we were thrown off, because we're like, why?
It's not concrete.
yeah. And it's an in and an out, and then Amkin also dumps into it higher up. in the elevation. So it's a three-way. And I'm guessing that's why they left the lift station in and didn't abandon it at the time. I don't even know how long, that's been a long time ago, probably
So
2000.
to do that slip line, is that something you do, or is that something about to contract out, or?
I can do it and get prices on it. It's not all that much to it. You leave the existing pipe down there. And you just try to prevent any more of that stuff from flaking off or a hole getting into it, and then the ground. That whole going down to the Amkin is kind of on the hill. It's all down, downhill, so it gets a lot of water.
Yeah.
So let me get inside of it and see what it is. I'll get detailed pictures and give you some ideas and cost estimates.
So we can get that fixed in the next 60, 90 days?
Yeah, I'll give
Quicker
out
than
some cost estimates. I'll know something, hopefully by the end of the week, the condition of it with pictures.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess depending on what we hear, we'll have to, because council won't meet again till, and we'll go over that at the end. It has to, the next council meeting probably will not be until after the next election. So we're looking at mid-June. And so if we want to do it quicker, we'll do an email out for
There's
approval.
a company that I used before is called L&F Manufacturing. They're in between that better and Giddings. But I think I just tried to buy some material from them. Now you have to go to a distributor. You used to buy from them direct.
Right.
So they're local. They make them, they make them to the size you want.
Okay.
But let me do some research and at least clean it out so this doesn't happen again. But I'm guessing I had 4 or 5 inches of rain on Sunday night.
66.
And fast, it doesn't normally happen.
Right.
It was going uphill.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
But,
So, so we'll be able to get something moving on that, and we'll email council when we get that bid to be able to come in and get that worked on and get fixed. Okay. At some point in time, probably not tonight, because it's getting kind of long, I do want to visit with you all about doing some proactive maintenance versus the reactive stuff that we've been doing, Dustin. I can't, we've never, and I'm pointing to the whole thing that's not there anymore, but just their picture, but to get ahead and do some proactive maintenance with the city. I don't think we've done much proactively, but they've got it all mapped out for us in a pretty decent way. It can't be in this year's budget because we just approved it, right? We just started. But we could sure start looking at what we could do to budget and even look at funding and see what we can do for some of the immediate needs and fix that too. So, but I'll visit with you, Amanda, and then we'll start gaming out a plan. And Rachel, we'll have to do that. And any other questions, comments about any of the reports you've heard in the consent agenda? Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. So one of the things we need to do is, we'll do this now and query whether we need to do it again later, but we can do this now, is the consideration of possible action on appointing a member of the city council to serve in the role of sergeant at armed sport council meetings. I guess I can ask, is anybody interested? Paul, do you like your job? Do you like your job?
Yeah, does everybody like what I'm doing?
He gets better every time.
Right, I'll say.
I'll make the motions
We
and all
can't
the
do good enough election either. I mean, we can't wait on that.
summit.
We can table these until after.
Table until after in June? After the runoff?
They decide.
No, we can't because we don't have a mayor pro tem. We'll at least have to appoint a mayor pro tem because we don't have one right now. That was Jeff. And so we have to appoint a mayor pro tem. That one we at least have to do. If you want to leave Paul in this position and wait until June, then we can table and wait on the sergeant at arms. But we do have to do item 2 to appoint a mayor pro tem.
So you go with the mayor pro tem.
Number 1 on the items, the sergeant at arms for council means he is the current one right now. And so we can either leave him until June or we can make that appointment now. Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Paul as our sergeant at arms.
All in favor?
Worked it out, so.
Opposed? Okay. So item 2 is consideration of possible action to appoint a city council member as mayor pro tem to act in the absence of mayor and perform duties as authorized by the city charter and state law. Is there anyone who wishes to be, anyone in the nomination? Is there a nomination?
Nathan, would you like to do it again?
I would nominate that.
Nathan, is that something you would be agreeable to?
Yes. So Macy and I agree to that.
Okay, so that was Paul. So Paul, you nominated
Yes.
Nathan to be, you can make your official, I nominate.
Okay.
Say it.
To become the.
I nominate Nathan as.
Mayor pro tem.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
You think I wanted to?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And the third item there listed is consideration of possible action to approve a resolution authorizing submission of an application to the Texas Water Development Board for the Water System and Infrastructure Grant and to authorize the mayor to execute all necessary documents, including the required affidavit and certificate. So again, I think we previously approved one back in March, and the WSIG is getting itself together, and they're getting very specific about what documents they want. It's a lot of people competing for a pot of money, and they're looking for all the ways to eliminate, and so we're complying. And so you'll see that in your packet. It's after the water report. So it's actually a couple of documents. One is the actual resolution submitting a report, and then the application affidavit, and then application resolution, and so it's all of these, right? And then the application, filing an authorized representative resolution. It's all of these things. And in that packet, anybody have any questions about that? So is there a motion?
Go ahead.
Make a motion to approve resolution authorizing the submission of the application to the Texas Water Development Board, the WSIG, or sorry, authorize mayor to execute documents including affidavit and certificate.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. The item number 4 is consideration and possible action on approving a contract with AOPA Engineering to review the 2021 Burton Independent School District plans related to fire suppression requirements and to evaluate the city's water infrastructure capacities to support the proposed system. So again, you saw the example in the packet of how that is detailed oriented, right? And scope, the limited in scope, and it is an engineering view on the city side. So we've heard all about how it functions on the school side, but it's what does it mean for us? And to connect that 12-inch fire suppression line to the city's 6-inch line. So, did y'all have any other questions about that or the need? I think Nathan, you were at that meeting as well. So all it is a just the permission to work on that packet with them, and then it would be, you would see the copy of that final draft of that scope of services at the next meeting to see what that looks like.
Anybody talk about it? Let's talk about it. You want to go for that, or is there a problem with it? And I will approve it.
I thought they, they told us all the numbers and everything like that. It's, probably wouldn't hurt to get a second opinion on it. I mean, in my opinion.
I get the numbers on the school side. Again, it's the question, what does it mean for the city side? And I just, to have our own engineers or have engineers who are looking at the city infrastructure and keeping that part of our lives in mind.
Yeah, I mean, and they even told us, that they would fill it slowly if they had to.
Mm-hmm.
And, in non-peak hours. And, from midnight to 2 or 3 in the morning, they'd fill a little bit and then they'd come back the next day and then do it again, so.
Yeah, it's all been considered and thought out, I believe. I'd like to approve the action to this in mind.
Okay.
Consideration and possible action on approving.
Can I say something before you finish? So what you're saying, you're not really comfortable with the numbers that the school engineers gave?
It has nothing to do with the school numbers and the numbers they gave me. My concern is for our water infrastructure and what we can handle and what does that mean as it impacts the city. Paul, you were making a motion?
Yes, I would like to approve possible action on approving a contract with EcoFlow Engineering to review the 2021 BISD plans related to the fire suppression requirements and to enable the city's water infrastructure capacity to support the proposed system.
Right, so our system needs to be evaluated as well.
Looking at our side.
Yes. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you. Item 5, consideration and possible action to approve Karen Buck, Nathan Kalkocki, Tommy Gilman, Charly Ruemke, Paul McLaughlin, and Macy Tidwell as authorized signers on all bank accounts for the city of Burton held at Citizen State Bank. So Tommy, this is one we're doing now and we'll have to do again in June, but we have a new signer on that card. Is there a motion to approve? Okay, Tommy, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item 6, consideration of possible action to authorize Amanda Clem to call and contact the bank regarding information on all bank accounts for the city of Burton held at Citizen State Bank. This is going to give you access that Angela did not have and struggled with. Okay?
I make,
Yeah, you can go ahead.
I make a motion that every camp, to call it, contact the bank regarding information on all bank accounts of the city of Burton at Citizen State Bank.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, before we adjourn, so we're going to change the regular council meeting to Tuesday, June 16th. So I need you to note that on your agendas there. Tuesday, June 16th at 5:30 p.m. That way the council meeting is after the runoff election and council can canvass the vote, install elected officials, conduct business in one meeting versus having the 2 meetings, because otherwise we meet the 9th and then again on the 16th. Yes. So we're just going to wait to meet. It also will probably, we won't have a repeat of what we just did. If early vote closes on the 9th, then we have to move all the furniture in and then move it out again for the election. So we'll just stay on until it's all done.
The only thing
Can I
is,
go to the table again?
the only thing this will be is y'all will not get council packets till that Sunday or Monday, because I'll still have to put everything, I have to wait until everything's final on Saturday night.
Right.
So y'all will get council packets probably that Monday, so you only have a day to review, but surely, hopefully it'll
But
be
the
a small
agenda
packet.
still
The
has to be.
agenda will be posted, but I won't have all of this great documentation until after everything's finalized. But we are moving it so that we can canvass all at one time. Yeah. Otherwise, we have to do it and then come back the next week and y'all have to do it. So just be aware your council packet supporting documentation will be later than normal.
Right, but the agenda
The
should be
agenda will be, yeah, it has to be posted.
72 hours or whatever.
It's gotta be posted that Wednesday.
the Wednesday before the meeting.
Otherwise,
So the election is 7 to 7 again on Saturday.
yes, and there will be early voting, we just don't have all those dates yet. I'll go with Carol Jackson tomorrow, because I have to get her all of the paperwork we're signing tonight. From the orders, Karen and I have to do
Oh,
that.
we've got a lot to do yet. Okay, yes.
And I will get that out to y'all as soon as I have dates, y'all have dates.
And now I need a motion to adjourn. Thank you. Second. Is there a second? Nathan, all in favor? All in favor, aye. We're adjourned. Thank you all. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Now I'll be okay sitting in the car for 2 hours.
Yeah, they need to have a bigger area for everybody.
Yeah, just sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't.